Svechnikov. Svechnikov with a little backhand. He scores! Oh, the power of Andrei Svechnikov. And he ties it at 1.
Oh, what a moment for 37. An unbelievable backhand at top speed. Jarvis is going to get an assist, and it's significant because he knew that the power forward was coming up the ice, and he was chugging.
He was chugging. Wait, they were in Vegas. Holy cow. Good evening. Good morning. Welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. I'm Adam Gold. Thank you very much for staying up late, getting up early. I don't know where you are. I know where I am. I know it's silly that I'm awake, but figured you were. We should all be awake together. All right. Hi. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy, Hannah, and crew do a great job for all of your home improvement needs, exterior-wise. Anyway, check them out, aluminumcompany.com. So, as the head coach said, Spencer Martin is the reason we won the game. Do not disagree. If for no other reason than the first period. The numbers in the first period, analytically speaking, were gross for the Hurricanes. Not that Carolina didn't have chances. Carolina had chances to score, but they gave up so many opportunities to Vegas. And this is where I actually think Carolina just got better as the game wore on. I thought they were good in the second period and good early in the third and then great late in the third. Vegas had 13 grade A scoring chances in the first period alone. Carolina doesn't allow 13 grade A chances on most games, let alone the first period. So, dynamite goaltending performance by Spencer Martin, who has now started twice for Carolina, has made 55 saves, and has beaten Boston and Vegas both on the road. Yep. It's exactly how we all drew it up, people. Don't you know? Exactly how we all drew it up. So, for the first 2 months of the season, we sat and we sat and we sat and we looked and we looked, and the numbers just beat us over the face or over the head. You can't get beaten over the face. About how poor Carolina's goaltending was. And it was poor. It was the worst in the NHL. And statistically speaking, it still doesn't look awesome. Except since that game in Ottawa, with very few exceptions, Carolina's goaltending has been outstanding. At its base, it's been solid. Have there been some bad games? Yeah. Kochetkov wasn't good in the game at home against the Islanders. Obviously, Raanta wasn't great in that game against Nashville that saw him get waived the next day and sent to the minor leagues. But, of course, Raanta came back and played well. There have been a couple of clunkers, but do you realize how long ago that Ottawa game is now? It was like the second week in December. So we're entering into, we're making the final turn in February already. There's 11 days left of February. So Hurricanes goaltending has gotten good, and at times it has been great. And until further notice, Carolina might just be okay in that department. Again, we're not going to talk anything about the trade deadline today. This is not going to be, we're not going to be here very long because it is, again, either very late or very early, depending on whether you're coming or going or where you are. For instance, I don't even know what time it is in Adelaide. In Australia, I think they're 12 hours and 40 minutes ahead. I don't know what they are. but it's sometime in the afternoon. Heck, my man Mikhailov might be taking a nap for all we know. So we're not going to be here a long time tonight. I want to spend tonight talking mostly, if not all, simply about the game. The way I figure it, some of you might have passed out by 11 o'clock and you've missed it all. So let's just go through that. And if there's a couple of offshoots and I can answer some questions, that would be great. Yes. Wait, I'll give, I wish I had the setup. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the question from Gregory. I wish I had the setup for this. I'll try to do the best I can. And I don't even know who this person is or what the name of the lead singer is, but apparently Journey is playing at PNC Arena. And because Journey is playing at a sold out PNC Arena and I guess the new lead singer, not Steve Perry, was wearing a Seth Jarvis is what Tripp was saying, wearing a Seth Jarvis jersey on stage. Tripp was talking about what a huge Caniac the lead singer was. And yes, and you know how Maniscalco works, and they start dropping Journey song titles. So here's the goal and what happens after.
Carolina now. Here comes Jarvis, right on cue. He'll get it in front. He scores! That's the way you need it. Carolina takes a 2-1 lead. 19 seconds into the third.
Oh, there's all sorts of loving, touching, squeezing going on up here. Jonathan Cade, the huge Caniac, after the show in Raleigh's got to be loving this. Shorthanded, win 2 board battles. Skjei and then Staal. And Jarvis, the way he protects the puck, 1, gets it to his forehand, 2, and he's able to beat Aiden Hill in the lower portion. Don't ever stop believing with this young Hurricanes legend. What a way to set the tone for the period.
That's it. I'm just laughing. That's all. I'm sitting there and I'm laughing, especially since I was tweeting out, like, I'm not even a Journey fan. I couldn't tell you other than don't stop believing. So I said, I was tweeting out, don't stop believing in this this Canes team. And then Tripp said that before I could even tweet it out. It was useless to even tweet it out, but I think I might have hit send, but no big deal. That's what it was about. So that was fun. And at this hour, we're all punchy, and I could barely speak. Okay, let me just go through a couple of things about the game. I thought Carolina was sloppy early. I thought Brent Burns he has been great. I thought his puck management in his own end was left something to be desired tonight and helped create several of the opportunities in, for Spencer Martin to deal with. I mean, first thing I wrote down, I'm trying to take notes during the game. First thing I write down, Burns turnover. Nearly ends up in an early goal. Spencer Martin, great save. Then I wrote about a Martinook spin pass to Jarvis, which actually was an incredible pass by Martinook. Next thing I write down, Burns, another turnover. Barbashev denied by Martin. 15 minutes later, Burns turnover. Martin deals with it. So it was a rough night for Brent Burns when it came to like getting the puck out of his own end. That's where the giveaways were happening. But Martin was on top of it. And I thought great nights from Slavin and Pesce and Skjei. I thought Skjei was particularly good tonight. And obviously you see, Carolina's forwards, which I thought this was, I know it's going to sound weird. I thought Andrei Svechnikov and Foss were pretty good tonight. Now, that line, as a line, didn't generate a goal. And I know they were on ice for 1. That was the second goal. But honestly, I don't fault anybody on that goal, including the fact that it was Aho's turnover, because if you see the play, looked to me like Aho had his stick held, and that was what really turned the puck over. Hurricanes got 0 power plays tonight. Now, maybe they didn't deserve any, but I thought they deserved that one. And I know that there are people mad about the Svechnikov high stick penalty, but how can you be mad when it led to the shorthanded goal by Seth Jarvis? Come on, play the long game, people. But I thought Aho, Svechnikov, and Foss were actually pretty good tonight. They weren't great, but I thought they were good. Staal, Martinook, and Jarvis are always good. And right now, Drury, Bunting, and Necas are very good. And I thought we saw better play from the fourth line, but still, it leaves a lot to be desired. And they didn't play a ton. So in a tight game, Rod doesn't roll four lines, if you will, in a tight game. Although Carolina got the separation about midway through the third on the Stef Noesen goal, that's where he scores, right on top of the goal. Great hand-eye coordination to knock it off the crossbar right down onto the ice, and then he just knocks it in. First goal, and I believe 12 games for Noesen. Now, Jesperi Kotkaniemi is on 21 games now without a goal. It's a lot. It's officially a lot of games without a goal. And very few assists, although he gets an assist on that goal because it was his shot that the rebound popped up in the air. So I saw some good signs today. As sloppy as Carolina was after the first period, I didn't really think they yielded a ton. And so, I mean, the scoring chances, yeah, there were some. There were 8 each way in the second and third periods. I just thought Carolina was tighter. Not tight enough, but tighter. But then again, I'm judging it by the first period, and the first period was basically a gong show. But Carolina survived it. And Vegas is struggling right now. They're struggling to do a lot of things well. They're struggling to keep pucks out of their net. That's what Lindsey Brown told us before the game. They're struggling on the power play. I'd like to tell you that we saw them struggle on the penalty kill, but Carolina didn't get a power play today, which is probably, by design for Vegas because Bruce Cassidy spoke about Carolina's power play before the game and how good it was. All right, so to the goals. First goal, the Svechnikov backhand goal, and I think should be a lesson to a lot of Hurricanes, is that sometimes your backhand is maybe the preferred shooting choice because it's so deceptive. You don't know where you're going on a backhand. Like it's easier to read where a shot's going on a forehand shot than it is on the backhand. And I mean, that puck just screamed over the right shoulder of Adin Hill. Great shot. Jarvis just handed the puck to Andrei and got out of the way and just let Andrei just slash across diagonally left to right, middle of the ice, and boom, right over the right shoulder. It's 1-1. And that happened 81 seconds into the second period. The game stayed tied until Seth Jarvis scored right out of the chute in the third. That wasn't a backhand shot, but through the wickets, and honestly, looked like Adin Hill got a piece. Those are the ones you'd like to squeeze, but hey, we'll take some breaks. We've seen certainly our fair share of goals go in like that against us over the course of the season. And then the Noesen goals we talked about, it was good to see the fourth line rather, create some offense. Kotkaniemi and Noesen both been on a drought. Kotkaniemi's only got 2 points, 2 assists in the last 21 games. So it was nice to see him have his name on the score sheet at all. So that's all good. So as it sets up going forward this week, and I know I saw one of the questions, let Martin play against Chicago, give Kochetkov the game against Florida on Thursday. I don't know what part of this makes you think that this is a tandem, but it's not. Kochetkov, unless he's not right, and Martin did play great, so I can certainly see Rod saying, hey, let's give the kid another start. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to see Kochetkov on Monday and then Kochetkov again on Thursday. He's your guy. He's your guy. I don't see him giving Spencer Martin a back-to-back start. So just the way I look at it. And I also wonder what's going to happen when either Raanta's healthy or Freddie's healthy. Right now, you can carry 3 goalies, okay, because you've only got 1 extra forward and 1 extra defender. So you can carry 3 goalies. They're not getting, unless they make a trade, unless they trade a player. And I don't see them trading a player off their roster that doesn't bring a player back. We're not going to have 4 goalies on the roster. So if Anderson is ready in 2 weeks, I mean, somebody's going to get waived. It might be Raanta. I'm not saying it won't be, but it could also very easily be Spencer Martin. Just the way, you can't have 4 goalies on your roster unless the playoffs are here, and then you could have 8. Doesn't really matter. But I mean, there's going to be some decisions coming, and this is why when people have said, "Well, why not just call up Ponomarov? Healthy scratch, Kotkaniemi, call up Ponomarov." Roster. You can only have 23 active. Right now, Carolina's got 23 active on their roster. So you can't healthy scratch and call somebody up to play. And while I'm not the biggest Kotkaniemi fan of the world, I don't think you make your team better by taking off one of your 4 centers and having Brendan Lemieux draw in. You just don't make your team better. You're better off just minimizing Kotkaniemi's exposure if he's not playing well, which in many ways Rod Brind'Amour has done. So I wouldn't. We can't be too overly emotional and knee jerk about these things. Kotkaniemi will work his way out of it, and I think there is a halfway decent chance that he becomes as productive as he's going to be. Not the hot streak we saw before the trade deadline last year. And I remember asking this of Don Waddell because Kotkaniemi went through about a 15, almost 20 game stretch where he was about 3/4 of a point a game. He's playing very well. And I asked Don Waddell, I said, does the way Kotkaniemi, the way he's playing right now, change your position from need to want? And he said, absolutely. Now, whether he's just, getting out of the question by just agreeing with me or not, I don't know. But I kind of take him at face value there because last year I think it did. It took them from need to want. So they would have loved to have added a scorer that didn't cost them a lot in return, but they didn't need one in their minds. I'm not arguing whether they did or not, but that's what happened. I'd love to see Kotkaniemi get going offensively because I think it would simply make Carolina's lineup better. I will say this, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, and we're probably going to wrap it up in a couple of seconds. As much as I love Jesper Fast, and he can play with good players, and again, I thought that line was good tonight. He can play with good players. He did that in New York when he was with the Rangers. He played on a line with Panarin, or at times Zibanejad and some of their other top players. Teuvo Teravainen can't be playing 10 minutes a night on your 4th line. So, and Rod knows this. On the road, I think he was just trying to help out Kotkaniemi a little bit, trying to get Aho and Svechnikov going with somebody who is a guy who's going to dig pucks out of corners, help you maintain possession, because that's really good. One of the things that Jesper Fast does really well. But I think you'll see Teravainen back with Aho and Svechnikov when we get to the arena on Monday. That's just a guess. Just a hunch. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Trying to think if we have any questions other than this. I am looking forward to the Florida game on Thursday. Florida has moved ahead of Boston now in the Atlantic. They are the best team in the East. They were the best team in the East 2 years ago, barely made the playoffs last year, and ended up winning the East in the playoffs. Great run. Happy for Paul Maurice. And that is a team that is hard to play against. And I'm looking forward to playing against them. But that's Monday. So we all get to rest tomorrow or today or later. Take a nap. Cade's Corner Podcast brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. So check them out online, aluminumcompany.com. One more thing. We got both sponsors in, but I have one more thing to say. Seth Jarvis is a player. He is old school. He is all situations. And he is a Hurricane forever. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of how they're going to deal with his contract in the offseason, but I think everybody would support a full 8-year Seth Jarvis deal. I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know if Seth Jarvis and his camp wants to do it, but boy, what a player. Absolutely great. All right. We'll see everybody on Monday night from the arena after the Hurricanes take care of the Chicago Blackhawks and maybe, just maybe, win 3 in a row. Until we will see you then. Good night.